morning, Judge. Sorry, good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Judge, just as a matter of housekeeping, we promised you a typed version of Mr. Tlati's statement.
Oh, yes.
Which we have. Can I hand it up, please?
Thank you. And it forms part of the bundle? The witness bundle?
Well, it's now separate, so...
Where is the written one?
The written one, Judge, is in the witness bundle. Right at the... No. It's at page 69.
69.
It's going to be difficult, though, to interpose it in the bundle.
Oh, is that the JJJ 182 one?
That's correct, Judge.
Well, can we slot it in here as page 70A?
70A.
70, sub A.
It's going to be difficult to slot it in. I think is yours not ring-bound, Judge?
Yeah.
So we won't really be able to slot it in.
Oh, well, then we'll have to
could we perhaps just give it an exhibit number? For
separate thing. All right. Well, where are we now? We are at
E, Judge.
Exhibit?
F.
Exhibit F, Mr. Jamie.
Judge?
Yes, Mr. Mukari?
What we're going to request, and I think we would like to place it on record, is cooperation from the evidence leaders. What we're going to request is cooperation from the evidence leaders. Because now we're just here for the first time that they're handing up an exhibit which is now typed, which they had all the opportunity then to give it to us so that we can look at it and so on. So that's all we're just asking, that let's have cooperation. Whatever document that they're going to hand up, we must not hear for the first time when they're handing it up and suggesting exhibits. So they should work with us in a professional manner so that we are able to carry out our duties. Because now I've not even seen the typed version, which was not given to me. But I'm not making issue about this one in particular because it is just what was being transcribed. But I'm just
about
saying
the principle.
Then a principle, that's principle. Yes.
Could I respond to that,
Jamie,
Judge?
I think the principle is well stated.
With respect, Judge, it's unprofessional to accuse one's opponent of not being professional, especially in a public, on a public stage. And I take exception to that. There was nothing unprofessional about it. It's a simple procedural administrative issue which I thought was unobjectionable. You asked for the translation, Judge. We've given you a transcription, and the reaction from my colleague was unnecessary in the circumstances.
Yes, well, he's just asking for cooperation, that's all. And I think cooperation will be necessary from all sides. So, as far as that is concerned, thank you, Mr. Mukari.
Thank you very much, Judge.
All right. Is the witness Ntlati here?
They haven't brought him yet. Oh, I see that he's sitting at the back.
Mr. Interpreter, just remind the witness that he's still under oath. Speak the truth.
Uyakhunjuza ke mhlakazi ukuthi ufungile ukuthetha inyaniso yodwa. Siyabona?
Yes.
Witness.
Thank you. Mr. Mukari, you would like to cross-examine this witness?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, before I engage with aspects regarding this witness, I just want to recap that yesterday, then, after Mr. Ntlati had finished his evidence in chief, the proceedings were adjourned in order to allow me an opportunity to consider his evidence and to decide then the scope of the cross-examination, if at all. But one of the issues that I was supposed to also deal with was in relation to the agreement that was concluded between the parties about those witnesses statements which could be allowed to go into the record without the necessity of those witnesses testifying. And one outstanding issue in that regard was the defense reverting to the board on the status of the statements by Brigadier Mashiko and Captain Adrio. So just for the completeness sake, I just wanted it to be recorded that the defense indeed reverted yesterday with regard to the status of those two witnesses, and that that is what you will note then at an appropriate time, Judge.
Yes.
Thank you very much. With regard to the evidence that was led by Captain Ntlati. How are you, Captain Ntlati?
Njani Mhlekazi? I'm good, thanks. And
Yes, you'll be glad to know that I don't have questions for you.
uzavuyiswa indaba yokuthi akanayo imibuzo for wena. Thank you.
So I considered your evidence, and so then I am not cross-examining you.
Uthi uhoneliswe bobungqina bakho kwaye akazuqhubeka ngokuthi akubuze
No
imibuzo.
questions.
Thank you very much.
Enkosi.
Under the circumstances,
no
Judge,
questions, Mr.
under the
Jamie.
circumstances, no re-examination.
No re-examination. You have no questions? You have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Ntlati. You are excused from the board. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Jan.
Judge, my next witness is Mr. Lindela Mashiko. And as explained to you in chambers, Judge, we call him notwithstanding the agreement, but in order to clarify an aspect of his statement.
And is his statement part of the bundle Exhibit B or not? Yeah, here's one.
129, page 129. Yes, that's
129. Is he here, Mr. Mashiko?
I think it was entered as Exhibit E. It was entered separately as Exhibit E.
Oh, I see. There is also a statement by him on page 129 of the bundle.
That is correct.
Is that the same statement?
No, Judge, that is an earlier statement.
Oh, all right. Are these two different statements, Mr. Jamie?
Judge, there are two different statements. The one statement was the statement that you find at page 129.
That was done on the 8th of August, 2013.
That was done a year after the Marikana incident. As you will see, Judge, it has an exhibit number on the top right-hand corner, which indicates it was handed in as an exhibit at the Following Commission.
Yes.
And it identifies, it has certain annexures to it, which we will be dealing with, Judge. And then the statement Exhibit E was prepared for purposes of this inquiry,
Yes.
given the different focus of this inquiry, and attempts to deal pertinently with the issues in this inquiry.
And this was done on the 3rd of May, 2016.
It was deposed to by Mr. Mashiko on the 3rd of May. Yes.
Is Mr. Mashego going to testify in English?
I believe he is, Judge, yes.
Mr. Mashego, do you have any objections to taking the oath?
Not at all, Judge.
Do you then swear that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. James.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Mashiko, could you tell the Board of Inquiry what your present occupation is?
I'm currently the Media Relations Officer for the City of Tshwane.
Of the what?
City of Tshwane, the municipality.
Now, You know that this Board of Inquiry concerns the National Commissioner's role in respect of certain events that happened at Marikana and were the subject of the Parliament Commission of Inquiry. Is that correct?
I'm clear on that. That's correct.
Now, at the time of those events, you were in the employ of the police.
Correct.
What was your rank?
I was a brigadier responsible for media relations.
A brigadier.
Correct, sir.
Responsible for media relations.
Correct.
Now, Brigadier, not shortly after, you have a witness bundle in front of you, is that correct?
That's correct, Councillor.
Could you go to page 129 of that document, sir?
Are you there, Mr. Mashihu? Have you got it?
129, the numbers on the top right-hand column, top right-hand corner.
Okay. Yes,
Are you familiar with this document?
very much so.
And this is a statement by you, is that correct?
Correct.
Could you look at page 130? Whose signature is next to your name?
I confirm that that's my signature.
Do you stand by the contents of this document?
Correct.
Excuse me?
Correct.
You do. It's got certain annexures attached to it. You're familiar with those as well?
Yes, I am.
Very well. Now, you should have your subsequent statement that was prepared and signed by you before Commissioner on the 3rd of May before you. It's not part of the bundle, it's separate.
I have.
You have it.
It was handed in as Exhibit E, Mr. Mashihu.
That's
Is yours marked Exhibit E?
I think it's the witness's own copy, Judge. His is not marked, I don't believe.
Okay.
Ms. Mashihu, are you familiar with that document?
Very much so, Councillor.
And it was signed a few days ago. Do you confirm its contents?
I do confirm the content.
Could you read paragraph 5.3.5 of the document, of the affidavit, please?
Paragraph?
The last paragraph, 535.
After completing the document, I presented it to the National Commissioner and other officers who included General Petros, the Provincial Commissioner for Gauteng, and Northwest Provincial Commissioner, General Mbombo, who scrutinized it. The National Commissioner dictated further changes, which I effected to the document on my laptop. After the National Commissioner had satisfied herself with the changes and the general content of the statement, she then approved it for release.
Thank you. Now, the document that you're referring to there, what document was that, sir?
This was the media statement.
Okay, now, would you go to the bundle of documents again, and page 137? You have 137?
I have.
What is that document?
That is the media statement.
Which you were referring to earlier in your second affidavit.
Correct, Council.
Now, just for orientation's sake, and you make it clear in the second affidavit that you prepared that document from another document which you had obtained on a memory stick, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you put the memory stick into your computer, your laptop, and then you made the changes on your laptop.
Correct, Council.
Now that first document which you had on the memory stick and which you made the changes to, what document was that? Was it called something?
That's triple F4.
It was triple F4 at the...
Internal briefing document.
It was an internal briefing document that was handed up at the Parliament Commission and marked triple F4.
Correct, Council.
Could you go to page 140, sir, of the bundle?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have it, sir?
Yes, I have it, Council.
And do you recognize that document?
That is the document.
Triple F4,
Triple F4.
which you saved on the memory stick and put into your computer.
Correct.
I'm sorry, just correction. You didn't save it on the memory stick. A memory stick was given to you,
Was given to me.
which you put into your computer. Now, sir, could you go to page 141? So this incident internal brief would be the first document, triple F4.
Correct, Council.
Could you go to page 141, sir, of that document? And could you go down to the fourth paragraph? It begins, when the police. Do you see that?
I see that, Council.
Now, could you read that paragraph and the next paragraph, please?
When the police started deploying the barbed wire fencing, a militant group from the protesters armed with weapons, hangers, spears, axes, and firearms hastily flanked the vehicle deploying the wire. They were met by members of the police who tried to riposte the advance with stun grenades. The attempt was unsuccessful, and the police members had to employ force to protect themselves from the charging group. This resulted in the death of 16 protesters, with 13 wounded at the scene.
At that scene. It says at that scene.
At that scene.
Yes, carry on, please.
The dispersion action had commenced at this time, and the protesters were driven from the stronghold to a high bushy ground in the close vicinity. The police members encircled the area and attempted to force the protesters out by means of water cannons, rubber bullets, and stun grenades. The police advanced to arrest the armed protesters, resulting in the police officers having to again employ force to defend themselves at close quarters. This resulted in 13 more protesters' deaths, with 15 more wounded at the second incident.
So that's the first document, right?
Correct.
Now, could you go, sir, to page 138 of that bundle? And we're now busy with the second document. You just turn the page, is that correct? The media statement.
Correct.
So now, page 138, sir, the third last paragraph and the second last paragraph on that page. Could you read those, please?
Come again, which paragraphs?
The third last and the second last on page 138.
The one starting with when?
When the police. Yeah.
Okay. When the police started deploying the barbed wire fencing, the group of protesters armed with dangerous weapons and firearms hastily flanked the vehicles deploying the wire. They were met by members from the police who tried to riposte the advance with water cannon, tear gas, as well as stun grenades. The attempt was unsuccessful, and the police members had to employ force to protect themselves from the charging group. Should I proceed?
Yes, please.
The dispersion action had commenced at this time, and the armed protesters were driven from their stronghold to a high bushy ground in the close vicinity. The police members encircled the area and attempted to force the protesters out by means of water cannons, rubber bullets, and stun grenades. The militant group stormed towards the police, firing shots and wielding dangerous weapons. Police retreated systematically and were forced to utilize maximum force to defend themselves.
Sorry, could you also...
Sorry, Judge, before we proceed, I'd just like to place on record that my learned friend should not be leading the witness. Because so far what we've been told is the witness has just been referred to paragraphs of statements, whereas what we're told is that he's coming to clarify paragraph 5.3.5, which deals with the National Commissioner made further changes. Thank you.
Mr. Bakari, if he leads the witnesses, we will stop him. All right.
Yes, indeed.
Carry on, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Judge. Could you also, sorry, Mr. Mashifa, read the next paragraph, please. The total death toll.
The total death toll of the protesters currently stands at 34, with more than 78 injured. 259 people have been arrested for various charges.
Thank you. You can stop. You don't need to read further. Now, sir, the changes between the two documents in these two paragraphs, how did they come about?
No, sorry, Judge. I mean, the witness has not testified here about the changes. So he must first ask the witness if he sees changes, if there are changes. So as I've questioned that, he must not then put leading questions because the witness is now testifying in chief.
Can I respond, Judge?
Carry on, Mr. Jamie.
Can I carry on? With a question, Judge. Sorry. The changes between the two paragraphs, or between the two documents in those paragraphs, how did those changes come about?
The changes came about through dictation by the National Commissioner. The main changes were on the statement.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The changes came about when we were putting together a media statement which was released on the 17th of August, and they were dictated to by the National Commissioner.
Now, in your second statement, the one of 3rd May, you referred to the National Commissioner dictating changes in that paragraph that you read, 535. Is that correct, the last paragraph?
That's correct, Hansel.
To which changes are you referring in that paragraph when you say the National Commissioner dictated further changes, which I affected to the document on my laptop?
First and foremost, the document FFF4,
Yes.
I copied it and pasted it on the letterhead or on the page that contained the police logo because it was going to be a statement. The changes that were dictated to, the first one being that of not differentiating between the two scenes, scene 1 and scene 2. As you will see in the media statement, that is not captured. There's no scene 1, scene 2. The second changes that I had to effect was the systematical withdrawal of the police. That too was dictated to me by the National Commissioner.
The withdrawal of what?
The systematical withdrawal of the police.
I'm sorry. Can I just perhaps to assist the members of the board, could you look at page 138, sir? There's a sentence at the last sentence of the second last paragraph. It reads, police retreated systematically and were forced to utilize maximum force to defend themselves. How did that sentence come to be in this document?
That's the line I'm referring to, that besides not mentioning or differentiating between the two scenes, that's the line that was dictated to me by the National Commissioner when we were compiling that media statement.
And the immediately preceding line, the militant group stormed toward the police firing shots and wielding dangerous weapons? Because that also is a change from the previous document.
Correct.
How did that come to be there?
That too is a line that was suggested that it should be in the media statement by the National Commissioner.
Where did this happen, sir? Where did this interaction with the National Commissioner happen?
It happened at a room in Lonmin, within the precinct of Lonmin, before we went for the press briefing.
Thank you. Because you said it was good. We have no further questions, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Bukhari, do you wish to cross-examine?
What time is it at the moment? quarter past 10, quarter past 11.
10 past 11.
Then could we adjourn for an hour, maybe an hour and a half? It's quarter past 11.
Yes.
So if we can adjourn until 12:30. If we can adjourn until 12:30,
12:30.
then I should be able to
And
then to make a decision to cross-examine. But I think I would like to cross-examine today.
yes.
Yes.
Any objection, Mr. Chairman?
Seems a rather awkward time, Judge, unless Mr. Mukari is suggesting that if he cross-examines at 12:30, he'll finish by 1. Otherwise, there doesn't seem much point to starting at 12:30.
I mean, we should rather adjourn to 2 o'clock.
No,
My commissioners want to adjourn rather to 12:30 than to 2 o'clock.
12:30. Sorry.
If you can make it earlier, that would even be better.
Yes, no, I mean, I'm just putting 12:30 as a maximum. So it could be even earlier. Thank you.
Good. We'll wait for you. Court will then adjourn until Mr. Mukari is ready to cross-examine the witness.